life has taught me, whenever something shit happens, I just find the humor in it. The fact that there's been one Shah Rukh Khan in 25 years, the probability of me making it as an actor is already low. I've done commercials with Ranveer Singh where you wouldn't even notice me in the commercial. What's
Hello.
up?
What's up?
What
You
is
know,
the question? Sorry?
yes, we thought you would be like with your hat and your trench coat and all the things that people want to see you as, and instead you're wearing this hairband and
This is the lockdown hair.
oh God,
This is the
yeah.
lockdown hair. I am.
So have you cooked something today and then come to the show, or are you going to cook
Yes.
something now?
I
Okay,
just finished my masterclass cooking. The
okay,
avio, the avio
oh,
dish. I
okay,
finished my dishes,
okay.
and I get shit scared whenever I have to do live because it's the only time when the whole world finds out how shit my internet is.
Okay, you said shit twice. It's okay, right? Children are watching.
Yes, film companion. I
Okay,
think we're cool.
we are cool, right?
How are you?
I'm good, thank. How are you, Naveen? How are
I'm doing
you?
good. First of all,
Okay, you just yeah. First of all,
no, I have to get this out of the way. My first reaction is to call you sir,
okay,
but because you're a fellow engineer, it's a little awkward. So
you
I
can
have
call me.
to.
Yeah,
We have is boss okay? Because we used to call our seniors boss in college.
double
And
okay,
and and I see the Rajni boss look on you.
double okay. ये double okay है, as they say.
Tell me, boss.
Boss, listen to me. You said that we are in the middle of a Black Mirror episode.
Yes, Black
Talk to me
Mirror
about.
and also Big Boss.
Yeah, take me
So
through it.
I'm first of all I'm hoping that both of us at least last till the last round and don't get eliminated.
Okay,
And I I've had such a long journey as an actor that my dad before Chichori and Agent happened, there was a long period of time in my life when I used to sit at home and do
okay.
nothing and just watch Netflix shows and not go out and be lazy. And my dad used to just get super mad at me. So now all the same things are happening, but I have so much respect from everyone for it. It's
So your
like
life has changed.
life has changed. I'm super
Yes.
lazy. I never knew
Yeah.
that these are things that I'm amazing at. I'm amazing at being lazy. I'm amazing at just not going out to meet fake people and sitting home and watching Netflix. So so I never knew these qualities could save the world. So I'm
Yes.
super excited about this lockdown.
Okay. So I have a question for you.
Yes.
Recently, there's been this thing that, the world is suffering. We are in the middle of a pandemic. Should we be watching all these funny videos or celebrities putting themselves out there? What is your take on this?
So my take on it was basically like when I was going through this situation like everyone else, I was like, oh my God, there's so much of scary stuff happening around the world and people are dying. And that's nothing
Right.
to joke about. And it could
Right.
happen to any of us. And then the deeper I started observing it, I realized there's so much that you and me cannot control. Uh, there are things that you can control, which is following the safety precautions, not stepping out, not becoming a carrier of the virus yourself. These are things you can control, but there's so much you
Right.
cannot. So then I said, if that's the case, and I'm sitting at my home, and I cannot control the negative news and the tension out there, maybe what I can do is try and make things easy for people on the internet now that everyone's on the internet. And that's why I started my YouTube channel. And I thought, let me, because this is something that life has taught me. Whenever something shit happens, I just find the humor in it.
Okay.
So it's something that I learned from my dad. So then I looked at my quarantine situation, and then I found like a bunch of things that I was just laughing about. And I thought, this cannot stay inside me. I have to make videos about it, otherwise I'm going to die. So then I started the quarantine series, and then I did the cooking masterclass, which because I was watching that a lot of celebrities around the world were cooking dishes, and then I found a lot of humor in that, and I did a satirical take on that. So as long as you're kind of finding something that everyone in the stuck in the same situation is finding funny, I think we can all have a laugh about it, and because my humor is not about laughing at the people that are dying. That's never that's where I draw the line. So it's more about all the situations that we find ourselves in. It's unreal. And
Yeah.
just yesterday, I was talking to someone that couples stuck in quarantine, you can't have a fight and be like, "Fuck off, I'm fucking off." I don't know if you're allowed to use the word F word on
That's
this.
okay. Yeah.
So
We're very
you,
chill.
yeah. So
Yeah.
this is that's for me. That situation is loaded with potential humor. So that's how I look at it, and that's my take on the videos that I put out there. Because and ever since I've started putting out this series, I read the comments and I'm like, there are so many people writing and saying, "Oh my God, was going through such a shit day. I was panicking about this, and I feel better now. You know,
Wow.
I just had a laugh for 10 minutes, and I feel so much better." And the moment those sort of messages started coming in after the first video, that encouraged me to kind of make more. And then I was like, okay, I think we're on the right track. I think there's everyone sitting at home just wanting to have a laugh and forget about the
What
unpredictability
is
of the
happening?
situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I guess you think you're funny then.
Well, that's for you to find out. On my YouTube channel, Naveen Polishetty, and on my Instagram, Naveen.Polishetty. If you haven't subscribed or followed yet, what are you doing?
What am I doing, right? I'm
Yes.
just talking to you. So listen to me. If you were to make something for me, if I were to like come to your house after all this, and then I asked you to cook for me, what do you think you'd make for me?
I'd make you my signature dish, my
No, no, no.
signature.
I don't want your signature dish, please.
That is,
I've seen
it
I've
is.
seen the signature dish, and I do
You,
not want your
boss,
signature dish.
do you know that a lot of restaurants in South Bombay are waiting for the lockdown to end so they can
So
add
that
the caramelized herb crusted avioli ole meatballs to
okay,
their
okay,
menu?
okay, okay. Okay, I'll move on to the next question. Thank you so much. Okay. Now, Naveen, there are a lot of people who say, like at an age, they say, I want to be an actor, right? Uh, Now, when they say actor, they typically mean like a hero, like a
Hmm.
leading man. Now, when you find yourself first finding success in comic roles, which is still part of the broader spectrum of acting, but then nobody like typically steps into this world saying, I want to be a comic, right? Very few people do.
Right.
What was that all about? Like, did you feel that you were doing something that you did not want to do and then discovered your talent at it, or
Yeah, I mean, I think comedy is something that happens to you when depression happens to you. Uh, I don't think you can be funny if everything is amazing in your life. Humor is something that comes out of a lot of pain. I don't think
okay,
you'll ever see a guy who has had no body issues, who has had no self-esteem issues, being extremely funny. You know, it's humor is something that it's something that you turn to when the other options have closed.
okay,
So right from the time when I was a kid, my dad always taught us, like, we didn't really have a very comfortable life financially as well. So my dad always saw humor in everything, you know, right from that Sunday haircut, which sometimes we didn't go to, or the food that was served. If it wasn't to our liking, we just found a way to laugh at it. And when I decided to be an actor, and especially like after college, you know, a lot of friends, when I was doing theater plays in college, a lot of friends in college, you know, those idiots who are like, "What are you doing here? You need to be in Bombay, dude. Like, I see you in a Dharma production in 6 months." You know, those guys. If you're watching this live right now, you're the guy. You are the ones. So then you listen to their advice and you step into Bombay, and then suddenly you realize, I don't think Karan Johar knows me. So so then you're like, oh my God. Then the real struggle starts, and now you have two options. Either you stress about it, and then you give up halfway, and you say this is just too much, or you just keep laughing at the situations that life throws at you, that acting as a profession throws at you, and you turn up for the next audition. So that's what I kept doing in Bombay, and that's what led me into comedy. That's what led me into a stand-up gig, an open mic that happened, and the boys at AIB had come to perform there, and they saw me there, and Tanmay was like, I think he has the same sadness that we do, so let's all be sad. let's all let's all be sad together and make people happy. Uh, so that's how the sketches, the YouTube video started at AIB. We did my first gig with them was to be in the an intern on the show that cannot be named, which we did with Karan Johar and Ranveer Singh and Arjun Kapoor. It was a documentary that we did for kids. So it
Of
was
course.
there's there's so much that happened on that show, and that's how
Yeah.
we started, and
Okay,
that's how
so
comedy
come on,
started.
quickly, just give us some inside dope on what happened behind the scenes. Tell me
Behind the scenes of what?
of the show that cannot be named.
Hello, you're breaking up, boss.
Uh,
Hello,
oh, really? I am.
hello,
Okay, all right, fine.
hello. This I told you my internet sucks.
Ah,
Hello,
right, right,
hello.
right. Okay, cool. I take it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so that's how
So,
that's my answer to how I kind of got into comedy sketches and YouTube. And to be honest, when we were making YouTube videos, there was no Amazon, there was no Netflix
right.
at the time. This was, I think, early 2012, 13. So nobody saw this whole digital boom. And one sketch led to another, and that's when I myself realized, okay, I think this is something that we should be trying more. And that's when the honest engineering interview thing happened, and then that blew out. And yeah, so that's
So
how
the
comedy happened.
honest, so the honest engineering interview thing.
Yeah.
Uh, see, that's a rant as well. You did a rant again almost a year later, which was the half day thing,
Half
right?
day. Yeah.
Guys, if you haven't seen these, just check them out, right?
Please check
On
them out, right?
the channel. Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. So when both are rants, but what I noticed about the first one was there are a lot of cuts, and typically cuts happen when someone is not able to say the dialogue like at one stretch, right? So between about the second one
Not
that I saw,
always.
that is not always, yes, but I'm just saying,
Sometimes the line producer would have ordered for a trolley, for a track shot, to shoot the same scene on a track instead of
right?
a static. So that in that case, then you do both takes. Uh, but that's not what happened with mine. I sucked in mine.
But
But yeah,
assuming that that didn't happen, what I'm trying to ask you is, in
yeah,
that 1 year, did you feel that you'd become a much better actor? Because the second one is almost a single take,
yeah.
and you are. I was like, okay, either this guy's looking at a teleprompter or he's become a much better actor. Which one of these is true?
I think when we shot the second one, we had the location permission only for 15 minutes. So so we had to wrap the shoot immediately. So we were
Okay,
shooting
okay,
at some station. I think we were shooting at an office which was right above a metro station or something, and
okay.
they had location permissions only for half an hour. So just before I was supposed to do this 10-minute piece, my director comes and say, "Hey, no pressure, no pressure. Just get into the mood. Just take your time. As long as it's under 15 minutes, it's fine. Just just that, okay? And okay, action." And that's how the video that made people quit their IT jobs was made. Uh, that's in fact, whenever I think of these videos, I get scared because after the engineering rant, and I got tons of messages on Instagram saying, "Bro, thanks to you, I'm not doing engineering anymore." And and then after the half day video, I get a lot of messages from people around like seniors and like, "Bro, quit my job," and I'm like, "Oh my god, guys, that was not the
You have
idea
a
behind those videos. I am not I'm not going to be able to send you your monthly checks. This What is happening?" So I feel really scared about the effects of these videos. But no, it was the AIB video was written by our writers who put their heart and soul into it, and country. Yeah.
I think in a way it also shows how many people really like, because we don't have much of an idea early on about what our talents are or could be, and sometimes you get stuck in a career path,
Yeah.
like you're kind of washed along, right? Like it's
Yeah.
almost like being swept along in a tide, and then by the time you realize that this is your talent, it kind of takes some time. That's why I think people like you are like, wow, okay, this guy did it, so let me do that too. Now tell me
Yeah.
one thing. A
Yeah.
lot of people come to me and say things like, listen, I think I have it in me to be a stand-up comedian. Because now in the Chennai circuit, I'm from Chennai, so the Chennai circuit, it's really, we really have some stars. So so what does it take for somebody to realize that they could have that in them? I mean,
You're talking just specific to stand up or acting?
stand up,
Okay.
comic stuff, because I'm assuming they're all coming from this because they're cracking jokes with friends that are well
Right, right,
appreciated, or like that. But what
right.
is,
Like,
I mean,
yeah, the prerequisite is a lot of sadness in your life. Like I said
don't
earlier,
keep saying that. Just
that is the prerequisite. If you've had a very happy life
okay,
with money and comforts, and girls have been swooning all over you all your life, and you've been the topper in school, then stand up is not for you. Please refrain. It's only for people who have had miserable lives, uh, and that's a prerequisite. And then you start with a lot of. And I've seen people who are extremely have gone on to do well, and I've seen people who at their first open mic probably did not get a single laugh, but then went on to become like really big stand-up comedians just through
right,
sheer hard work and discipline of writing and consistency of performing on stage and having the mental strength to rejection that comes with the profession. So the people who I've seen, people who had all of these qualities have gone on to make it. So there's no answer saying, am I the one? If you tick all of these boxes, but the sadness before is the most important
so,
thing.
so when you say sadness, how sad are you going? Like, are you going, okay, I couldn't buy myself a veg puff today at the theater. I didn't have the money level of sadness. Are you going like, I want to kill myself level of
I think
sadness? What is this?
I think what is going to happen next is all the depression helplines are going to get calls and be like, "Hey, when is the next stand-up open mic?" It's like this is the after effect of this. No, I joke about it, but of course, I don't know.
No, but there's a
This
core
is
of truth in it, right? Yeah,
sorry.
there's a core of truth in it.
It is. It comes from that core quality of finding humor because, I mean, let's face it, life is never going to be extremely easy on us. I mean, it doesn't matter if you have the money, if you have the success, there's going to be something that's going to be pinching you. And I think the one quality that has helped me uh, sort of tide through all of these situations has been just to look at it in a humorous way. Uh,
Okay.
because I always had like the other option of just sort of taking it very seriously and crying, and I did that for a while, and that never works. So
Okay.
so yeah.
You just spoke about the discipline of writing, and that's a very neat segue for me to what I really want to talk about, because I really enjoyed Agent Sai Srinivasathria.
For all the film
And
companion viewers who don't know about this, Agent Sai Srinivas Atreya is a Telugu film. It's a Telugu detective film that came out last year, and it's out on Amazon Prime right now. And have you seen it, boss?
uh, hey, listen, I've just heard that stand-up comics are also very good at self-promotion. Is that right, or
It's not true. It's not true at all.
it's not true?
For
No,
example,
no, no.
I just
Okay,
promoted
okay,
a film. I just promoted a film that I have nothing to do with.
okay,
So
okay.
very unbiased.
Okay, cool. Very, very
No,
good. No, but that's a film that you kind of got, and then you co-wrote it. And I think it's considering the subject that it had, I thought it was written really well. Now, how do you like, again, when did you discover that you have the talent to write a screenplay, which is of course an allied skill, but not exactly like writing a sketch, right?
right, right. So when the YouTube stuff was happening, I was doing a lot of freelance gigs where I was writing for, let's say, a brand comes to me and says, I'll pay you this much. Can you write like a small YouTube video for us or something like that? So I was trying freelance things here and there, and then after the viral uh, videos happened on YouTube, I kind of was myself looking for that film, that big screen debut. Because, like I said, it's been
Right,
something that I've grown up with. It's a dream that it's not something that I stumbled upon later in life. I think I was very clear right from when I was in fifth or sixth grade that I wanted to be an actor. So the
right,
the 70 and that film is something that it's been bothering me for 20 years. So after the YouTube thing happened and people knew about me, I started getting a lot of calls for films and auditions. And then I was like, how do I find that story? How do I find a film where, when we have so much right now on celluloid, what is that one film that is going to make people come out? It is going to make producers invest on a new guy uh, who's not from the industry, who's done some YouTube videos. B, it's going to make the audience feel like I want to watch this movie in a theater rather than just waiting for it to come on a digital platform. So whatever scripts I was reading, I was asking myself these questions. So I got a message on Facebook from this boy called Swaroop who messaged me saying, "Hey, I have a detective story. Do you want to read it?" And I said, "What is it?" And he said, "It's called Agent Sai." And then I started laughing. I said, "What? What's his name?" He said, "Agent Sai Srinivasa Atreya." And where is it set? And he said he runs a detective agency in a small town called Nellore, called FBI. And I started laughing. I said, maybe this is it." I was like, "Please be good, please be good." I was just literally praying. I was like, "Please be good, please be good." And then he sent me a synopsis, and then I got in touch over the phone, and he narrated the story to me, and I was blown. And I was so blown with the world and everything. And I said, "You know what? I'm coming to Hyderabad. Let's sit on this." There is, and that's when the writer in me started getting so excited, because I was like, this character, the possibilities are insane.
Right.
Uh, what else? What can we do humor wise? What can we do in terms of because it's a thriller. So what can we do in terms of unpredictability to make it more unpredictable for an audience that is consuming content on the internet?
Right.
If the audience is going to guess our twists, then we don't have a film. So how can we work on that? How can we make the journey of the protagonist? How can we make his journey more difficult?
Right.
So that the audience is rooting for him. So these are some of the questions that you learn in by reading, like writing books and stuff. So I kind of moved and I said, "Let's sit. And if you don't like me in a week, you can fire me." And then we used to sit at coffee shops, and then the moment a scene or the possibility of a scene would be discussed, I would stand up and start acting out the various possibilities, and we would note down or record it. And there would be like people in the coffee shop going, "What the hell is happening? Who are these? Who are these two people?" And then we made a list of all the worst coffee shops in Hyderabad that have like less than 2 rating on Google, and we've started visiting those so that we will have AC, Wi-Fi, and no customers. So so we did that for about 6 months, and that's how the co-screenplay writing with Swaroop happened. And it was the most joyful journey, because it also helped me as an actor to understand how to play this detective agent Sai Srinivasa Atreya. And you kind of don't think of it just from a acting perspective. You start thinking of, "Hey, is the scene working?
Oh,
Is this
yeah. Yeah.
required?
Yeah.
Is this why do we need this?" You start asking those questions. So it makes you see the bigger picture about the film, that the
Yeah.
film overall has to be tight, it has to be super entertaining, and we need to deliver a winner, because we only have one chance. Because
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
surname and with my financial background, I'm not getting a second chance. So I was like, this is our only chance. And with Swaroop as well, he's coming from a similar background. So we just knew at our hearts that we will only get one chance, and we better make it count. Yeah.
No, and you remember?
And I remember the first day when we screened the film in Hyderabad in IMAX. The audience came out, and me and Swaroop were on the escalator. We were coming down, and there were like some 300 people just standing and clapping, and we just started crying. We were just like little boys just hugging each other and crying, because we had to go through so much stress. The day before our release, we didn't even know if we would get 6 screens for a release. And it so happened that the movie premiered in America a day before, and they started tweeting saying, "Agent Sai, cult classic, Agent Sai, Agent
Ah,
SSA." And that word of mouth just traveled, and overnight we went to like some 180 screens, 350 screens, or something like that. So it's very difficult to take diametrically opposite emotions like that within a span of 24 hours.
right.
The
Right.
day before the release, we were like, we were just sitting across each other, and we were like, we just wasted the last 2 years of our life. What do you think? And And we're like, okay, I don't know. We'll find out tomorrow morning. That's the story
Somebody just
behind the screenwriting and the
and
acting of
somebody
Agent
just
Spiceman.
fantastic. Somebody just asked, how do I approach him and narrate a script?
Oh, you can. There's an email address account. You can send your synopsis to that email address. It's
Okay.
pretty democratic. I don't. As you guys must have figured out by now, I don't have a godfather that's screening my scripts. So it's just on that email. You send a synopsis, and then I personally will reply back to that email.
You know, you sound really happy right now. And now Sashinas Se Atre is a hit, and you had another hit in Chichore. So I'm assuming that you're not depressed anymore. So does that mean that you're also not going to be funny anymore?
I actually was thinking 2019 was such a great year for me. I did not see this coming. I did not think that in like 4 months in 20, because I had such big plans for 2020,
Right.
and I was like, because Chichore happened. That's another, again, this is an emotional roller coaster, because let's be honest, it's when you go through a long journey to your first film, there are moments where I mean, I cover it up with a lot of humor, but there are moments when you have doubt, when you have self-doubt, whether you made the right decision
Sure.
to quit that engineering degree, whether you made that right decision to quit that job. So there are moments like that, and when you go through all of that, and especially auditioning in Bombay, it can break you. I mean, the kind of, oh my God, it is like it is madness. It can literally break you. Like
What's the
so.
craziest audition that you had?
Sorry.
What's the craziest audition that you had?
Oh, I've had a bunch of crazy auditions. Like initially, I would never figure out. Like when I first used to start auditioning, I remember one of my early auditions. I went in, and even before I entered the audition, that guy said, "Body chahiye, body." No, 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 body chahiye. And in my head, my mind, the first reaction is like, you refer to someone as body after they're dead, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so my first reaction is, why does this guy want a body? Like, so it's, and then it hit me that, oh, okay, he's talking about the Dole Shole and the six pack, and that's when it's like going to write an IIT exam, and the guy says, no, you need to use a Reynolds pen. Sorry. I'm like, what does that have to do with the skill set and the exam that I'm here for? Yeah. So when that happened, I'll, I'll, you kind of start kind of entertaining the thought whether that first film is going to happen.
Right.
Because a lot of, and with me, what used to happen is very frustrating. This is something that I used to hate so much. All casting directors used to say, very good actor, sorry, we had to pick someone else. And I'm like, I wish you told me I sucked, so that I can go home and think, okay, I didn't get it because I sucked, you know? So now I'm like, oh, so are you saying I'm good and I should continue this? So then I'm like, okay, so that's what keeps you going. You're like, the way I used to judge it is, what are people saying? Forget about me thinking that I'm a good actor, but what are people saying? And everywhere, all the YouTube videos that I did or the short films, the feedback was like, you're on the right track. You need to keep at this. So that's what kept me going. And then Chichore again is a miracle, because I think I spoke about this somewhere. Nitish sir was actually wanting Nivin Pauly's audition, and he called the casting director, and the casting director heard it as Navin Pauly, and he called me, and he auditioned. He asked me to send an audition, and I sent the audition, and then Nitish sir looks at the audition and goes, "What's wrong with Nivin Pauly? What has he done to his?" And then they realize it's the wrong guy.
You are
And
making
I,
this
I
up.
never heard back after that, I think. And then I think I sent another audition after 4 months. And that's how Acid happened. And Acid, Chichore released literally 2 months after Agent, when I was just still fresh from the crying of Agent. And again in Chichore, I didn't tell anyone about the film, because if you've seen the poster, there's 7 people on the poster. So,
Yeah.
so I'm like, I don't know if my part is going to make it to the film, how much of the impact of it is going to have an impact on the audience. So you never know.
Right.
So I'm still waiting for the first show to be done, and then suddenly all the reviews come in, and Acid and Sexa and all the parts are received so well, and that's when I'm like calling everyone like, "Hey, have you seen Chichore? I'm in the film," and it did well. So again, so last 6 months I've been crying, emotional roller coaster ride, and then I always say this that I was telling someone the other day that the audience took me from 720 pixel to 70 mm, and Corona took me from 720 70 mm to 720 pixel again. So
Right. The cycle of
yeah,
life.
circle of life.
So has it, you said with that surname, right? So has it become easier today in Telugu cinema to do something? Because earlier the impression that one got was unless you had a surname and unless you were kind of like from a particular family, it was so difficult to make an entry. But now you find quite a few leading men, uh, not only flourishing relatively, but also doing very different kinds of things. Vijay Deverakonda is one. You guys started off with the same movie,
Right.
yes, maybe one or two of his recent films may not have done well, but basically he's a presence, he's a star, like that kind of a thing. Now, do you
Right.
think that Telugu, what has happened in that industry that has allowed this to happen? Has the audience changed? What's happened there?
I don't know. Like for example, this is a very
Or,
interesting
or even
question.
this, or even the take the success of Agent Shah Srinivas Treya, right? Because it's not a typical film at all,
Right. Right.
and it did hugely well.
Right.
Yeah,
So I think, see, it's a very interesting question, and there's no one definite answer because I've
right,
always believed that audiences, and especially Telugu audiences, are big, very, very passionate about their movies.
right.
You
They're
know,
the most in India.
it's the most. I mean, you will never. It is a gift. First of all, it's a gift to an artist or a filmmaker to make a Telugu film, because where else will you get an audience which is that excited about
Nowhere.
the film
Yeah.
that you're going to make,
Yeah.
right? So number one. Number two, audiences, I believe, have always responded to a good film. You know, when an audience sits in a movie hall and the lights go off, and if the film is really entertaining and really funny and they are having a good time, at that point I don't think they are asking what is the surname of the hero of this film.
Yeah.
So I've always found it intriguing when we have this system where there is so much of reluctance or hesitation in putting money on a new name. You know, I understand it's a trade, and I understand it's a business, and a producer is looking at a minimum assured revenue from the film that he's making. So obviously, his first instinct is to go for a name where he feels, okay, at least this weekend, this guy has a 15 crore weekend. So if I maybe make a film with like him at this budget, maybe then I can get like 70% of my budget back over
Right.
by the first Sunday. So that's commerce. There's nothing wrong in it. But I've always believed that if you risk on talent that the audience is excited about, if you risk your money on storytelling or writing that the audience is really excited about, because the audience has consistently proved that they are willing to watch good cinema, they are willing to watch entertaining films. So that if for example you make 10 entertaining films with new talent and all 10 of them bomb, okay, then
Yeah.
then you can go back and say I'm not putting money anymore. You know, I'm going to go back to my industry talent. I'm going to go back to kids of producers or whoever has proven to be safe. But if the audience is sitting there and saying an Agent Sai Srinivas Atreya with no songs, with no love story, with no fights, and with a new face, they're sitting there and saying, hey, we're going to give you it ran for 57 days in theaters. Same with Vijay's films. They all did phenomenally well, you know, one after the other. So the audience has shown consistent results from their end that, hey, we are open for this. So I think that should kind of encourage producers and the system in general to say, let's do this. Let's because even if you put your money on someone that you think is safe, is it really safe though? It's still a
Yeah.
risk. It's still a risk. A film at the end of the day is a risk anywhere in the world. Nobody knows what the audience is thinking. So when it is a risk anyway, I understand you're trying to minimize the risk, but I think you can always minimize the risk. Here's how you can minimize the risk.
Yeah,
You can minimize the risk by investing in great writing. You can minimize the risk by investing in great talent, whether it's the direction talent, whether it's the acting talent, whether it's the art department, whether it's the cinematography. Even these are factors by which you can minimize your risk as a producer. It's not always that casting someone who has a market is the only way to reduce risk. So I think that's I'm hoping that more
this
and
will.
more filmmakers can feel less risky about investing in new talent, and and I hope the audience also can. If you're excited about someone's talent, not just me, if you're excited about someone's talent, I hope the audience can keep turning up at the ticket windows, because it's almost like an election, right? Every time you pay that 150 rupees, it's kind of like a democratic setup.
Right.
So the onus is on all of us. Yeah, that's how I look
Yeah.
at it. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to play the HR guy in your AIB video,
Okay.
and I'm going to say, where do you see yourself 10 years from now?
Alive and still negative for corona. So
Dude, you're really morbid. I don't even know how this comedy comes from you. So,
I don't know. It's like, because right now the first thing on my mind is I hope we can all get to a world where there is no corona.
right.
Uh, that's the only thing on my mind right now, because actually in May, I mean, you might have heard of this film called Mahanadi, which was one of my favorite films, and I'm working with the same team, and I'm doing a film called Jati Ratnalu with them.
Right.
And it was supposed to be a summer release, and it's one of the funniest scripts I've read, and it has been the most hilarious experience to shoot this film. So I was actually literally caught off guard. I was, in fact, right now I was actually thinking I'm going to be on a Vijayatra across Telangana and Andhra, celebrate the success of the film. That's what I thought my April and May is going to be looking like. And then suddenly this happened, and again, more than being morbid, I think it's just funny how things work. Uh,
Right.
it's just, you just caught off guard, and you plan so much, and you expect a lot of things to happen, and then suddenly you're caught off guard. So for me, the first priority right now, where do I see myself? I'm seeing myself in a world where there is a vaccine for corona. I'm seeing myself in a world where we don't have to keep doing a lockdown, and we don't have to keep suspending businesses, because at the end of the day, we live in a world that runs on everyone working to earn a living.
Right.
That is the basic principle that we run this world on, and that has been robbed from us. So the sooner we get back to that world, the better it is for everyone involved. I'm not just talking about the movie business. Literally every department, every business vertical has taken a hit. Of course, from a professional point of view, I would love to see the movies come back once the vaccine is done. I would love to see the theaters reopen, and I would love to just be on a film set again. And I would love for Jati Ratnalu to come out from a career point of view,
Right.
and other super exciting films that I've been waiting for this year. And so yeah, so I'm really 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 hopeful that, I don't know where that guy is who's sitting with the vaccine. If you're watching this right now, please, can you 5x it a little bit? Can you just do this on 10x?
Right.
So yeah.
One of the things that I've heard, which has been a little humbling, is that okay, whether you want to call it God or a divine nature, whatever, spirit, whatever, that this has been basically a way to show humans how vulnerable we are, despite the fact that we think we are the most advanced species on Earth, and we're just this tiny little microorganism has kind of brought the world to a halt. I'm sorry for bringing in a serious subject, but I just wanted to
It's
know
so morbid,
if
boss.
yes, 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 yes. So listen, engineer everything, right? So this is we are built this way. So, so come on, make a joke about this.
Yeah. Tell me.
Yeah. No, I'm saying make a joke about this. I mean, it's
About
so
what?
sad, right? So depressing. About what I just said.
See, again, this is something that not just, like, I think I was having this discussion with someone and they said, hey, I'm offended by that joke. You know,
Which one?
not this one. I'm saying, generally when
Whichever.
when you're in social circles or on the internet, someone can get offended about something because they took that particular thing very seriously. And I always go back to that thing of, like, there was this image where I think it was shot from somewhere, and there's on the larger cosmic scale, because you mentioned God and the universe and the superpower that's probably running this. Uh, the Earth is not even a background actor in the larger scale of things.
Yeah.
Our Earth, the planet that we are on right now, and that's the only world that we know of, and we are very important people in the I don't know, 80 lakh species that are out there, 80 lakh forms of life that are out there. So Earth, which is kind of the source of all of these life forms, is itself not even a background actor in the cosmic scale. uh, and I don't mean to disrespect a background actor. What I mean is I'm just trying to use it as a funny example to show the insignificance of our planet.
Right.
So if our planet is insignificant, then what are we really feeling very, very important about?
Yeah, that's true. By the way, I can see
So
tomorrow's headlines.
the planet has been blown up because it's
No,
insignificant.
no, that's not it. I'm saying that there's going to be headlines that background actors union demand apology from Naveen Polishetty
Please,
for,
please don't do this. I was a background act. I was a background actor. That's where I started. Okay,
yeah,
it's like
yeah,
I've
no,
done.
no.
I've done. If I tell you right now, I've done commercials with Ranveer Singh where you wouldn't even notice me in the commercial.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
I've done. In fact, in Bombay, one of the first ways in which you make money is by being on sets for ad films, because there's a lot of money in ads.
Right.
So they like and so they would call us saying, hey, there is an ad shoot with Veer Singh, and we need he's coming onto the red carpet, and we need like just people going kach, 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 bunch of photographers, and you're like, okay, I'll be the photographer. How much? 10,000. Okay, I'll be there. And then you wait for the ad, and you're like, all you see is the flash of your camera, and you're
Flash.
like, and you just tell your family that, hey, that flash, that camera,
That's
that's
me.
that's my camera.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's my camera. So no, there is absolutely no shame in being a background actor. There's absolutely
No.
no shame in starting in whatever capacity that you can start, uh, as long as you have the ability and the intent to keep getting better and working hard. There's absolutely no shame in taking. I've done jobs where I've sold quinoa, so just to pay my bills. So yeah, I mean, it's amazing. I'm very proud about it.
Hey, one of the things that struck me in Sai Srinivas Atreya is the fact that Naveen Polishetty can do drama. Because one is
Hmm.
typically not like, I've only seen your AIB videos, and, suddenly I mean, the film is very funny because one of the things that cracked me up constantly was the fact that your sidekick, her name is Shruti Sharma, the actor.
Shruti, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah. So she always keeps calling you agent. So every time she said agent, I was cracking up for some reason. It was just so funny, just like, she's like agent, it was just so funny. And, and I don't know whether I was supposed to laugh at this, but the scene where your character's mother dies,
Yeah.
with a coconut being broken, I know that's a very terrible scene and a thing, but the whole
Right.
thing struck me as so ridiculous and ludicrous that I was like, what the hell just happened here? Just like a
Right.
breaking of
Right.
coconut in the head, right? Just like a custom or whatever it is. And that was
Correct.
part of the movie's thing to kind of say how ridiculous all this is. When you saw yourself doing all those heavy duty acting scenes, like you're weeping and things like that, what was it like? Did you say, not bad, Naveen, that's good? Or did you say, wow, I didn't know I could do this? What was your reaction like?
Actually, one of the reasons why I picked Agent Sai Srinivasan as the film to debut with, as a leading man, is the reason that is the fact that I wanted to try something which is not just comedy,
Right.
because my background was from theater plays, and you know how theater, when you start theater and you're like, I want to do theater workshops, I'm a serious actor, and you do a lot of monologues and drama
Right.
in theater. So comedy is something that it happened along the way, and then suddenly, like, I was like, hey, I mean, of course I can still turn up and just keep doing comedy, but then I didn't want to ignore the other aspects of my skill set which I should be training and challenging myself. So when Agent Sai, Sinva Sathre's character, the mother's track, I remember when Swaroop told me about the scene, I was like, oh my god, this is it, I have to like prepare for a year for this scene. I have to get this right. And even the investigative part of the character, which is pretty serious. You know, there's like when he's cracking the case in the second half, it gets pretty serious and it gets pretty dark as the case keeps unfolding. So these
Right.
are things that I knew I wanted to tick off, uh, to kind of let audiences and especially writers, producers, and directors know that, hey, I can do more than comedy. You know,
Right.
that's something that I wanted to put it out there, and it was just sort of like a gift that Agent Sai's story had all of this written into it as well. So yes, I was actually very excited about the serious parts of the film as well.
Okay.
And I
And when you
and I
saw
would,
yourself,
sorry.
when you saw yourself, were you, I mean, what did you think about your performance?
You know, it's like when you see yourself, all you look at is your mistakes. So it's like, even now, that's why I don't watch my films again and again, because I start getting into this critical mode where I ignore all the appreciation, and I'm like, oh my god, look at that. Look at that close up there, that is so horrible. Why did I have to overdo that? I wish I modulated differently at that point. That's all I'm thinking
Yeah.
mentally, you know. So yeah, I mean, I think more than me analyzing, I think what the audience, a lot of feedback that I got from the industry and the reviews from the audience was they themselves were very surprised that I could pull off the serious part so well. You know, because people who had seen my YouTube videos already knew that, okay, this guy can do comedy for sure.
Right.
But because the character himself has, I don't know, it has that underdog who becomes a sort of hero. There is like a heroic graft to his character.
Right.
So you should be able to pull off the heroic element as well.
Yeah.
And of course the serious and the emotional bits. And you know, especially the mother scene, like I kind of wanted to do it in a more honest way, rather than going, because when you watch a lot of films, when you grow up watching films, you kind of try to act like the performances that you liked. So that was constantly playing on my mind that, yes, it's a very serious part of the film, so how do I do this in a way which is more honest and more real?
Right.
I think that's what worked for that scene, probably.
Yeah.
I'm just second guessing the audience here. Yeah, so mom cried a lot and she called me and she's like,
I saw a very sweet video of your parents outside a theater. They're kind of both, I mean, your dad is like literally in tears. Your mom is handling it better, but your dad is like, he's sobbing, he's a mess.
can you imagine my parents' journey like in this? We've spoken about my journey, but for them, it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
you know, like an engineer from NIT, job in London, and then suddenly the son turns up one day, lies to us that he quit his job in London, doesn't tell us about the quitting, and joins a theater company in Bangalore, and then starts selling quinoa, and then he's hosting mall events where he's selling some cell phones. And then he says he wants to be like a Nasiruddin Shah of theater. I don't know how he's going to make money off theater. While my other kids have all got their masters, green card, US jobs, and you know, like, and then the graph of family functions where they were like, my son is, working in London to, he auditions in Mumbai. So, so that social embarrassment, and of course peer pressure that my friends are all married and have kids, and the fact that I might never have kids or get married, and the fact that there has been one Shah Rukh Khan in 25 years. So the probability of me making it as an actor is already low. So all of these things in my mother's mind and my father's mind, these are not separate channels. These work at the same time. And
Yeah.
this is all live feed. There's like 30 Insta lives going in their head telling this for 10 years. And then suddenly one day he debuts with like two films in two different industries, and both films turn out to be hits.
Yeah.
And then they come out of the mall, and there's media and press reporters and journalists.
Yeah.
So that video that you saw is a reaction to their Insta live or to all these channels that have
Yeah,
been
no,
going
no.
on in there.
I thought I was very moved. I was like, it was so sweet, you know, just like you could really clear because I've had a very similar graph in terms of a different
Yeah,
career path, of
correct,
course, but the
correct.
same thing about quitting a job in the US, coming
Same.
back, trying to do something. So I really know what you're talking about. So,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
finally, the last question. Uh, in a really extensive Telugu interview that you did last year, you spoke about the fact that you hate the word settle and that you don't like the word settle. You don't see yourself settling down because there's so many at every phase in life there's always going to be uncertainty, so you're never really going to be truly settled. Are you still that way?
I was perfectly settled before Corona unsettled my plans. It's like it was. I was like, finally, I think, because I've always been advocating this theory that there is no such thing as settled. Because I have this belief that the first time you become settled in life is when you die. That's when you are actually settled.
So Naveen, it was a pleasure chatting with you. It was
This was
really, really
awesome.
good.
This was awesome.
I really, really hope that after this whole thing,
Yes.
I really hope that you fire your broadband provider and get a new one. That's the
I,
first thing, the first thing you need to do.
I, I,
Forget developing new recipes or whatever it is. This is what you need to do.
guys, please, whenever this pandemic ends and the house full start, please make Jati Ratnalu a hit so I can buy a new router. Maybe have like a fiber cable in my house.
All right, Naveen, take care.
This was awesome. I
Yeah,
just want to say this. I've been a big fan of your reviews, and
thank you.
I always look forward to anything that you say on cinema. Like literally,
Thank you.
like I'm not a trained actor. I've not gone to a film school. So for me, people like you is what I consume in terms of content and learn. So so thank you very much. Whatever you guys do, and please show Agent to everyone at Film Companion.
Thank you. Thanks. Thanks. We will, and we'll spread the word. Meanwhile, you stay safe and take care.
Thank you very much. Thank you very
Yeah.
much, boss. Thank you very much. This was a
Bye.
pleasure.